So, is it actually still possible to build a profitable business selling custom t-shirts and mugs online? That's the million-dollar question we're diving into today. With so many people jumping into print on demand, or POD, we really need to know, is this still a golden opportunity in 2026, or did we all miss the boat?
I'm sure you've seen the ads, right? You've heard the stories. Create your own awesome designs, slap them on t-shirts and mugs, and do it all with zero upfront inventory costs. I mean, it sounds almost too good to be true. But with what feels like a flood of new sellers entering the market every single day, is that dream of quitting your 9-to-5 with a POD store still realistic?
Okay, before we get too bogged down in the details, let's just zoom out for a second. The global print-on-demand market. It's projected to be worth over $39 billion by 2033. No, that is not a typo. We're talking about a massive, expanding universe where creators and brands can seriously thrive. So right off the bat, you need to understand that the demand, oh yeah, it is absolutely there.
To really get to the bottom of this, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with the big picture, then we'll talk about realistic income, what you can actually expect. After that, we'll face the biggest challenges head-on, uncover the keys to success, learn from some real-world examples, and then wrap it all up with the final takeaway. So let's jump in.
First things first, let's get a handle on the financial landscape. I mean, before you can even think about making profits, you have to know how the numbers actually work in a POD business.
So here's a super crucial distinction. Your gross margin, that's the money left over after just the product cost. It might look really high, like 60–65%. But, and this is a big but, the number that really matters is your net margin. After you factor in marketing, platform fees, and everything else, you're probably looking at an average of 20% profit. Knowing this difference from the very start is absolutely critical.
Okay, so let's talk about the money. What can you actually make? While it's really tempting to focus on that POD millionaire dream, the reality for most sellers, well, it follows a much more predictable and gradual path.
Let's be real about how this whole journey begins. For most new sellers, that first year is a grind. Seriously, earning less than $100 a month isn't just possible, it's pretty common. This is the testing phase, and honestly, it's where a lot of people give up. But here's the thing. If you can just push through that initial learning curve, things really start to change. With consistent effort, we're talking refining your designs, learning who your audience is, and effective marketing, hitting that $1,000 to $3,000 a month mark becomes a totally realistic goal. This is where it goes from just a hobby to a real business.
And what about the top tier? Well, experienced sellers, the ones who've really mastered their niche, their branding, and their marketing, can absolutely pull in 10 grand or more a month. They succeed because they treat this like a serious enterprise, mixing creativity with some sharp business strategy.
But, getting to that top tier isn't just about working hard. The very thing that makes print on demand so attractive, that low barrier to entry, is also its biggest curse. It creates some pretty significant hurdles that every single seller has to face. Here are the big 3 challenges. First, the market is incredibly saturated with generic shops, and that just drives prices down. Second, like we just saw, those net profit margins are naturally pretty slim. And third, your success is almost entirely dependent on having unique designs that can actually stand out in a sea of recycled ideas. Okay, so knowing all the challenges, how do you actually win? Well, it's not about luck. It's about having the right strategy. Think of this next part as your playbook for turning those hurdles into opportunities.
These 5 keys are pretty much non-negotiable. You have to niche down hard to find a specific audience. You've got to make designs that sell, which is so much more than just pretty pictures. You need to chase trends smartly, not just copy them. You have to invest in branding to build a real identity. And finally, you must obsessively stay ahead of your profit margin by tracking your numbers.
So here's the secret to a design that actually sells. It has to have 2 things. First, visual polish. It's got to look professional, good fonts, a clean layout. But that's only half the battle. It also needs market fit. It has to resonate deeply with your specific audience. A beautiful design that nobody connects with is useless, and a great idea that looks amateurish just won't sell. You need both.
Okay, so that's the playbook, but let's see how it actually works in the real world. We're going to break down 3 very different and very successful print-on-demand stores to see these principles in action.
Our first example is the Happy Givers, and this is a brand that's built on a really powerful mission. They sell minimalist apparel and accessories, but their real product, it's their purpose. This is the power of branding in action, right here.
They use simple, bold designs with meaningful phrases. But here's their unique angle, the thing that makes them stand out. They promise that 100% of their profits are donated. All of a sudden, a t-shirt isn't just a piece of clothing, it's a statement of your values. And that's how they cut through all the noise.
All right, next up is a brand that took a completely different path to success. The Dumb Club didn't start with products. They started by building a community around a shared idea.
This quote, this is the heart of their entire brand. They built a massive audience with viral content all centered on this powerful message. So when they finally started selling apparel, like their signature deluxe hoodies, it wasn't just merchandise. It was a uniform for their community, a physical symbol of what they all stand for.
And for our final case study, we have Wanderprint, which shows that you don't always need a deep, philosophical brand mission to succeed. Sometimes a straightforward, well-executed business model is all it takes. See, Wanderprint's unique angle isn't some niche community, it's mass personalization. They succeed by giving their customers the tools to create their own unique products. By focusing on meaningful keepsakes and offering endless customization, they win through sheer volume, turning a simple mug or a blanket into a personal treasure.
So, we've covered the numbers, we've gone through the challenges, and we've laid out the strategies. But the one thing that truly separates the successful stores from the ones that fizzle out and fail, you know what? It all comes down to mindset.
Let me be clear. Print on demand is not a set it and forget it kind of business. The top sellers are obsessive about their data. They're constantly watching their margins, they're tracking which designs are selling, and they are ruthless about killing the ones that aren't. They treat their store like a living, breathing system that needs constant tuning, not just a static gallery of their art.
So, to answer our original question, is print on demand still profitable in 2026? The answer is a resounding yes. If, and it's a big if, you approach it like a real business. The playbook is right here. The opportunity is absolutely massive. So the only question left is, what will you create?